see Geraldo this afternoon?
I didn't. You told me this.
I were like,
action. So
no,
literally, you get pulled over by a cop. The stakes are way too high. Just briefly for the listeners. So I forget. The cop gets shot. You both realize you've just murdered an officer of the peace, and now you are screaming, hysterically crying. You're covered in blood, and then like, okay, we're rolling.
Yeah.
Then either one of you catch Geraldo yesterday.
Yeah.
Action.
Because there was a man on that weighed 300 pounds. He would tell.
There was a man who weighed 700 pounds.
Yeah.
And then now you guys have to cry.
Yeah.
With walking in your ear in the back seat.
And then the other thing the other little trivia about that was that he had never seen The Party. And I said, you never saw The Party? So I gave him a copy of Peter Sellers' The Party. And then the other obsessive thing he would do is in a very serious scene, he would start to say, birdie num num from like The Party. Okay, it was crazy.
The movie was really almost like and Search and Destroy. It was supposed to be the action cast, but now I'm like obsessively remembering all at once. Search and Destroy. It was, I mean, it's a thriller. It's funny. But also, like, it's really weird. Like, it's almost Brazil weird.
Yeah, it's very weird. Ethan Hawke is in it, Rosanna Arquette. It was like all people that I was friends with at the time that came down.
At one point, everybody, Griffin Dunn and someone else were in, like, a handball court.
Yes.
Waiting, like, there's a hostage situation, and they're just waiting to see how things play out. But the only door to the handball court is, like, the size of a doggy door.
Yes.
And then Totoro comes in. And I think it's Griffin Dunn's wife's birthday.
No, my birthday.
It's your birthday.
Yeah, it's my birthday.
And
Marie.
It's Marie's birthday. And Griffin Dunn wants to buy you lunch, so we make sure like lunch is given to you, and it's tuna fish. It's like an afterthought. But Totoro crawls into this handball court on his hand, but it's like the stakes are so high that it could be played as like a super serious thriller. Like you could do this scene today with like Mark Ruffalo and like Denzel Washington. Like, what are we gonna do? What do we do?
Yes.
So Totoro comes in, but he still has his pantyhose over his head that was hiding his face in the caper, but it's kind of rolled up a little bit, but not all the way. Or like he doesn't just take it off.
Yes.
And he crawls in on his hands and knees in this little tiny doggy door. And then before the scene starts, he just goes, tuna fish on a birthday, pal? I don't think so.
Yeah.
And I remember going, there's no way that was in the script.
No.
It's a bizarre thing like this. Before we get into the actual dialogue, like, I can't believe you got this woman to it's her birthday and you made her eat tuna fish. It was so bizarre. The doggy door and the handball court.
I know. Well, there was, the director, David Sally, was a painter, a very famous painter, and he never made another movie. And I think, You
drove him out of the business.
No,
Yes.
It was very experimental. I mean, we did that. We did Search and Destroy. Marty, because I was with Marty, I would like come to him with these projects, and then he'd get them, help us get them green lit. But like we were producing it, and it was really artistic. I was a huge believer in David Sally. I still am. I think he should make another movie. And then also, I found. Allison Anders, and then he helped us produce Grace of My Heart. So he was letting us, this was like at the height of the independent film movement too. Yeah. People should know, like you can never get away. I mean, literally it was just like, hey, Ethan, want to come do this thing and just be crazy, I'll
send the PA to pick you up.
Yeah. There was and then there was another thing that happened where, this is my famous Dennis Hopper story, was it again, so low budget, same PA, he now had the van, it was like working, hours and hours, no sleep, and we're going home, and I remember being so tired, I got in the van, I was so tired, I didn't put my seatbelt on, and the PA fell asleep at the wheel.
Oh my God.
On Park Avenue. We hit three cars. It was like we hit a car and then that car hit another car. We were so low budget. There was no walkie-talkie in the car. I went forward. I like hit my head. I went out. Next thing I know, the guy was like above me, like screaming. He thought I was, like dead. I was like, I woke up. I'm fine. The police, then he's got to stay there for the police. I had to actually walk back to set to tell them that we'd been in a car accident because we didn't have a walkie-talkie. That's how low budget we were. And I remember saying to the producer, like, might have been a good call just to spend a little extra money to have a walkie-talkie. So I walk back. I'm holding my head. I get back to the set. I'm like, things are spinning. I collapse on the floor. I can't find anyone. And Ethan Hawke and Dennis Hopper are shooting a scene. I still haven't even met Dennis yet. And I'm lying on the floor. There's this marble floor, and I'm putting my head against the marble because it feels nice and cool. Yeah. And then I'm kind of seeing images. There's Ethan's above me. And then I think my life is maybe flashing before my eyes because I'm sort of remembering Ethan from Alive. And then I hear this voice.
And he was eating my calf.
Yeah. And then I'm hearing this voice, and I'm like, wow, that sounds really familiar. It kind of sounds like my father. And I'm like, no, wait a minute. My father was obsessed with Easy Rider, Dennis Hopper. Now Dennis Hopper is above me. And then Dennis Hopper leans down and he picks me up. And I said, I'm really sorry we had to meet under these conditions. And I'm sort of crying. And then he says, you're going to be okay. You've had a concussion. He goes, do you know what that means? And I was like, no. And he goes, that means your brain is moved inside your head. It's not supposed to do that.
Meanwhile, this is the guy that's moved his brain into other levels of consciousness.
His Hopper's explaining to me what a concussion is. And
we have to do, I realized I should have actually, I don't open the podcast up to Twitter questions because it's it'll be a lot of nonsensical stuff.
Yeah.
But I realized it's like talking about Vietnam or Saturday Night Live. There's so much.
Yeah.
We only just glanced a lancing blow.
Yeah.
But we really, I'm trying to think of the best way. I think Twitter is too immediate and the turnover will be too quick.
Right.
So email me on jmohr.com questions and you'll come back for me and Illeana to talk, specific questions you have about action. And you'll come back and we'll do them.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I realized you and I talking are so, we have I realized, wow, our problems are so above the line that people really want to know, what was Tony Hawk like?
Yeah, I know. They're so...
That son of a bitch's dialogue was only to be delivered while in flight.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yes.
They build a half pipe.
Yeah.
Wow, you know what? Maybe action got canceled because it was so fucking expensive. When you realize, we're going to get a separate studio next to the... All right, we're going to... Okay, you know how you guys shoot on stage 8? We're going to empty and refill stage 9, which is $1 million. We're going to build a half pipe for Tony Hawk, but it's got to be his half pipe, his tour buses, his people, and we have it for 4 days. So that's actually probably $1 million right there.
Probably, yeah.
Tony Hawk in the show, I want to get Leonardo DiCaprio to star in my movie, and Jack Plotnick and you tell me you got to go through Tony. You do the research. You got to go through his guy Tony Hawk.
His guy Tony Hawk. Yeah.
That's his guy. And I go, what's a Tony Hawk? And I go and I got to climb all the way up the steps of this half pipe. And Tony Hawk is just doing, he's Baryshnikov.
Yeah.
He's doing things on a skateboard that I've never seen anything like. And I remember they kept going, we need you to stand closer to the edge. I'm like, I don't know if you realize this, but it's 60 feet straight down. And I think Chris Thompson was there that day. He goes, doesn't seem to bother him.
Yeah.
The guy flying around like a Wallenda brother. And I said to Tony Hawk, I go, they want me to stand with my toes right up to the edge, but I'm afraid you're going to hit me. Yeah. However, because I know he's the Michael Jordan he's more than that for skateboard. I go, if you tell me I'm in zero danger of being hit by your skateboard, I will have my toes. He goes, I won't hit you. That's all I needed to hear.
Wow.
So I remember if you watch the scene, my toes, my toes are actually in air. And he comes up and goes, wah! And he does a 720-degree turn and goes, are there guns? And goes back down. And we didn't loop it. I just had to scream my lines. And then again, he comes all the way back. I go, there's lots. It's called Beverly Hills Gun Club. There's usually guns in a movie with gun in the title. And then he just comes up and does a backflip. Whoosh! Leo doesn't like guns. Boom! So this prick actually... not only is he doing these tricks that you'd see in the X Games now, these hacks out there on their snowmobiles, like this guy did it just on a sound stage, and they just assembled this half pipe for him, and he's doing dialogue, but you can only, if you you have to do it in air around Jay's face or above. So he's got to get super air to deliver these lines. Why just deliver that? Sandra Bullock. I got to make a sex tape with Sandra Bullock.
Sandra Bullock, yes. Scott Wolf, I remember. Very funny.
I just watched that on YouTube, and I can't believe how funny that was.
That was one of the funniest. I love that line when you go stand up or something.
You are standing.
I am standing.
And I go, that's cute, Simon Birch. Why don't you waddle on back to party of 5'2"?
What about I've got Harvey Keitel? What was that? That was another line that people always say. I got a Harvey Keitel raping a nun, or I don't know, just with a tire iron. I don't know. It's some crazy. There was one crazy line after another.
You've got to have Keitel stories.
All just funny, positive. Just from showing up on Goodfellas and all.
Look, keep your head in the game. Things are going to work out. When doing Picture Perfect, sitting in a van, the van driver was also doing, I think it was Copland at the same time.
Yes.
And he had to pick Keitel up back and forth. And Keitel had just wrapped for the day and told the guy to take, I was off for like 6 days. And that guy was driving Keitel in the meantime.
Uh-huh.
So Keitel wraps Copland in like, I don't know, Fort Lee, New Jersey, where they shot it. And he goes, tonight we're going to go out, have a good time, blow off some steam. So he's out to like 4, but his call time's at 8. And so the guy drops him off at his apartment. I forget the guy driver's name. He was so sweet. And then he just sleeps in the van, and he's just outside Keitel's apartment at 8 in the morning, and he waits, and they're on the walk. See, in big budget movies, Illeana, they have they have walkie-talkies.
Yes.
So the people
all coming back to me.
Yeah, the people at base camp, the people that are in it for the money.
Yes.
We use walkie-talkies.
Yes.
And you go to 2 for an extended conversation because other people might have short. Yeah. So they're like, where's Keitel? Where's Harvey? Where's Harvey? And he's like, I'm outside his apartment right now. I'm waiting for Harvey. I'm downstairs. So finally, it's like noon. And they can't wait anymore. They've shot everybody else out. And they're like, you just have to ring his buzzer. And he goes, okay. So he rings Keitel's buzzer, and he's like, who is this? And he goes, hey, I forget the guy. It's Hal. I'm downstairs, Hav. And he goes, all right, just wait. And like another, now it's 1. Keitel comes down, and they're not a word, just sits like stewing, red hot mad, like so hungover, his face is red like a sunburn. And Keitel, in the history of movie making, no one can run a comb through their hair like Keitel. Fonzie doesn't have shit on Keitel as far as making that look cool. That little comb when he wipes, like in Reservoir Dogs, when he wipes some water on your face, make yourself feel better. And he just combs that hair, and he's got that perfect Keitel hair. And they're in the van. He's sitting there with his arms folded, hungover, staring straight ahead on the Williamsburg Bridge going into Queens, or whichever one goes into Queens. I don't know. And the driver's not saying anything, Keitel's not saying anything, and they're in bumper-to-bumper traffic. They get to the exact middle of the bridge. Like, Keitel waited, so it was the same distance backwards as forwards, and just turns to the guy and goes, don't you ever ring my fucking buzzer! What the fuck were you thinking? Ever! And like his finger's in the guy's face, and the guy goes, you got it, Hav. Hey, I tell you what, you come down at 6 o'clock at night, I'll be here. And he goes, you're goddamn right you'll be there. And then they just drove in silence to the place too. And then that was his Keitel story, this poor driver.
Oh my God.
Go ring his buzzer. Was there a person on Action that you, like a star that you wished could come back? Like who, if we were going to make the Action movie, we got to get Sandy.
Keanu.
Oh yeah, Keanu's game
without
too.
a doubt. I mean, Keanu is I'm such a huge Keanu Reeves fan. And, again, the fact that he came and did our little web series was just amazing. And he's so funny. I think he's really, really funny. And I think he's good at comedy,
He is good at comedy. And he's so good looking that I forgot my lines on Street Kings. I was going, wow, look at the lips on this guy. Like, this guy really, I get it. Like, I never got it. And I'm just sitting here like, Action. I'm like, who talks first? I don't know. I was looking at Keanu's lips. I'm sorry.
Yes.
And he's so sweet and nice.
He's so nice. And like I said, I think he's very talented, but I love seeing him do comedy. And then I just think, like, us working together, we always had really good chemistry. I would like to do that. Be more nude scene, more sex scenes on the first, as long as we can first thing up, do a sex scene like that.
Me, you, and then Steve Carell comes in. I forgot the appointment with Steve Carell. We got to get some other comedy person in. So we'll do it. We'll have Don Rio write it up with other people. You know, you're the one producing and writing. Why don't you write it?
I'm down for it. I'm totally down for it. Elephant Princess rides again.
You're gonna have to call Marty. He can get this greenlit.
He could. Well, that's right. We get Marty in it. Griffin Dunn. Marty's he's a funny actor, you know. So, like I said, when we were doing Search and Destroy, it was like you got to, you know, play this part. And then Quiz Show, I rehearsed my line.
He was incredible in Quiz Show.
Yeah, Quiz Show, he did a good job. And also Vincent Van Gogh. He played Vincent Van Gogh in a Kurosawa movie. He was very nervous about that.
But of course, because Kurosawa was probably like his hero, right?
Yeah.
I never get into the Kurosawa. To me, Japanese movies are very confusing and a lot of symbolism.